I had the most delicious salad last night. Can I tell you about it, Rick?
Please. It's probably the only way I'll get salad ever.
So I keep a bunch of chopped up vegetables in the fridge when I'm doing well, when I'm in the right frame of mind and eating well. I always have chopped up salad veggies, which I can use for salad or frittatas or stir fries or whatever already, because otherwise no one's going to bother to do it in the moment. So I pulled out my little bowl of veggies, which was chopped up carrots, broccoli, red, yellow, and orange peppers, and not sugar snap peas. What are those other ones that are flat called? Pea pods? The Chinese pea poddy type things, I guess?
No, I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
like the flat pea pod things? So those all cut up as well. And I have them cut up. I like them cut up really small. I know some people like bigger pieces, but I like to get several vegetables all in one bite at the same time. So I put those in a bowl, and then I just do olive oil and balsamic vinegar and this seasoning that I have that's salt, pepper, onion, garlic, and lemon peel that's super delicious. And I've been using for years and somehow have not even gotten sick of. And I toss that all up, and then I put on a mesclun mix, like a bunch of lettuces and stuff, and then I put on the same seasonings again. And then I toss that all up, and I do the vegetables and the lettuce separately so that the oil and vinegar distributes, because I don't use very much of it. And then I cut up an avocado and put that on there. And then I put a little bit of blue cheese on there and some sunflower seeds. So I had all these different flavors of the acid and the crunch and the salt and a little bit of tang. And it was very, very delicious. Sometimes I'll put chicken on there. Sometimes I'll put like chickpeas or something. But this time I just had it straight, and it was super yummy.
Nice. That sounds really good. I had the largest pizza in the world all to myself.
Awesome.
Thank you. I knew I could rely on you to be proud of me.
What was on it?
It's called a fire and smoke. So it has this really thin crust, which I really like. And then it has this chipotle fire and smoke sauce, which is really spicy and slathered over the entire pizza. And then mozzarella is thrown on top of that. And then it's baked. And then it comes out, and then they just drop fresh basil on it. So it's really, really good. It's really, really spicy.
I am literally salivating. Literally.
I thought, Rick, get the small one. The small one's going to be enough. And I was really committed as I was driving home, and because I was late, and of course, no one wants to cook when I got home because I was working late. And so I called, and I was fully committed. I'm like, this is great. I'm only going to do the small pizza. This is a big step forward. And I swear to God, I dialed the number. The person picked up, and I said, can I get it? And I said, can I get a fire and smoke pizza? And they're like, yes. What size? And without blinking an eye, it came out large. She's like, okay, we'll see you in 15 to 20 minutes. And she hung up, and I was like, how the hell did that just happen? I was so committed, but sabotaged somehow at the last minute.
I feel your pain. I know. What is up with that? What happens in those moments?
I really don't know, because literally, I hung up, and I'm like, what the hell? I was fully committed. Then at the last minute, is it just habit that took over at the last minute? Because that's what I'm used to ordering?
Totally. I've done that too. I've been like saying to myself in my head over and over again, I'm not going to order that Chinese food as I'm dialing the phone.
Awesome. It's cool.
And then I hang up and I'm like, well, done now.
Might as well go pick it up.
Exactly. No. I have it brought to me.
Oh, good. See, that's smart.
Oh, yeah.
It's good enough to expend energy.
Exactly. Well, then I can pretend it's not happening until the doorbell rings and I'm like, what? Oh, Chinese food? Where did that come from?
Well, I guess I'll take it.
Pepperoni pizza.
Chinese food.
Ice cream.
Chips and dips.
Any brunch within a 10-mile radius.
That's right. Today is part 1 of our comfort food series. Welcome to another episode of You Won't Believe What I Ate Last Night. I am Rick Fiore.
And I'm Kate DeVore, and this is our ongoing conversation about food, health, weight management, and our endeavor to be and stay healthy in a really tasty world.
Comfort food. What is it? Why is it so damn tasty? And how to enjoy it more, less often, with less guilt.
Rick, tell me about one of your favorite comfort foods.
One of my favorite comfort foods is, God, I can't believe I'm actually telling anyone, is ice cream. Now you think that's not bad, but I like to take ice cream. I like to leave it out of the freezer till it gets a little bit soft. And then I like to take a big old handful of potato chips, crunch them up, drop them into the ice cream, and mix it all up and eat it. It just makes me so happy.
I believe you. And I wasn't even going to go to ice cream, but that is probably my number one. It's certainly my number one dessert option for sure.
It just makes me so happy. How about you?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to open with mac and cheese. I think overall, I tend to gravitate more toward the savory rather than the sweet comfort foods if I had to pick. So mac and cheese, if it's the right way, has the perfect balance of fat and salt and the sugar from the carbs in the pasta and savory and tangy and creamy. So
nice.
I think that's probably my favorite with bacon in it and peas.
Oh, bacon and peas? Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
And then like a garlic breadcrumb topping. So there's some like garlic crunchiness to it as well. The peas pop, the bacon's smoky and chewy.
Oh my God, that sounds really good. I do love mac and cheeses nowadays, how they've come so far, how they're like super fancy now with like really nice cheeses like Gruyere. It makes me somehow feel it's a lot healthier. My other favorite one is pizza. Like I could eat pizza day and night.
Yeah.
The cheesier, the better.
Too. All right. Thin crust or thick crust?
I'm a thin crust type of person.
Me too.
What I like about the thin crust is I don't know why, but I can actually sit there and eat the entire pizza, and an hour later, I still feel it's okay to eat. I don't feel like I've overeaten. Even though I technically have, I'm still compelled to eat, so I love it.
Well, right. The bread takes up a lot of space in your stomach.
Yeah.
And so less bread takes up less, for sure.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's how I think about it.
Yeah. What are your favorite toppings?
Oh, God, this is terrible. On one pizza, I love garlic, onion, and jalapeno.
They don't cancel each other out?
I don't know. All I can tell you is I love it. That's one of those fancy food questions, Kate, that you're always asking yourself and you're asking me, and I have no idea. Do you remember years ago how I still couldn't really tell tastes apart? I'm like, Kate, what does sweet mean? What does sugar taste like? Because I just shove it in.
I forgot that, but now that you mention it, yeah, totally. All right.
Sweet.
Now, here's the other thing. There's another category of comfort foods to me, which is that when I am really on the straight and narrow and I'm eating healthily and I'm in that zone, which at the moment I'm about 2 weeks into, so I can speak freely.
I know not of what you speak.
But I have had this for long periods of time in a row in the past, so I'm hoping I'm back there. So there's another category of comfort foods that are actually not bad for me and are still comforting. Do you have any of those?
That's a great question. I would say yes. I would say I actually like a really great salad. I like a really great salad that has lots of different toppings on it. I actually like a salad that has as little lettuce as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a salad bar. So that I just find so easy to make. I really love eating it. It makes me really happy.
Totally. Because on Chopped, they always talk about having a, quote, salad of something with stuff, and it never has lettuce in it. Like a salad is just a term, it seems, for a mashup of things that are primarily vegetal with maybe some fruit and some sort of dressing.
Oh, that makes me happy.
So, yeah, totally. So, right, lettuce is overrated.
The other thing I'm really into, beans, I find comforting a lot. You know, sometimes I find them too comforting when they're delivered on chips, but yeah, I like them.
Totally, right. Well, and the beans I buy are 420 calories for a can of the beans, which I know because I like the beans enough to have to be aware of that. Because if I make like beans and greens, which is one of my healthy comfort foods, I have to be careful of the quantity because it can still be super high in calories. Totally. One of mine is definitely curry. I make a lot of curries.
Oh, yeah.
And so if I cook the vegetables right and I put them in at different times so that they all stay kind of toothsome, it's got a really good texture. And then the coconut milk is creamy and a little bit sweet. And then the curry is hot. And then the tomato makes it like a little sweeter and gives it a pretty glistening color. So it's nice to look at too. So it feels rich and, it's very like warm and nourishing.
You know what's so funny is I love any type of curry too, and I actually do find it very comforting, but it's still wrapped in my head that it's terribly, terribly unhealthy for you. Even though I know it's technically not. I mean, I know you have the milk in there, right? The coconut milk, which can make it a little intense sometimes, but I really do.
It depends on where you get it. Like if you get it in a restaurant, it often is unhealthy because of all the fat they put in it, all the oil they put in it. But I use a light coconut milk, so the whole can of coconut milk is only 250 calories, which is all fat calories, but it's not very much. And so when you think about that, it's making like 6 servings. So it depends on the coconut milk you make too.
I love that you know numbers. I love that you know what cans of stuff you eat and what the numbers are on the back.
It seems to be the only way I can function, and I really resist doing that as a lifestyle. I do it when I'm like working on it, but I can't seem to maintain that way because it seems like, who the hell can live like that? But people do, and apparently I might be one of those people who needs to. I just don't like to have to think about it.
I find numbers just get in the way of my enjoyment. Numbers on a can, numbers on a scale, numbers on a menu, all that stuff.
Absolutely. Right. The ones before the dollar signs as well as the ones before the calories.
Exactly. Because my favorite thing now is how more and more restaurants seem intent on listing the calorie counts of what you're going to shove in your mouth.
I know. It's interesting.
I mean, there's many times I'm glad to know, but more often than not, I just wish I didn't know. But it's good. It has shifted me away from ordering certain things.
Yeah.
Particularly all the comfort food items that I'm into. Because I'm like, really? Spinach and cheese dip is my total caloric intake for the day? Fascinating.
Right? Yeah. Oh my God. So what is it that makes food comforting, do you think? What is it that makes comfort food comforting?
Well, there's always this primal level, right, that comfort food exists on, which is that it's nostalgic. It makes me come back to a particular way of feeling. Why I have that, I don't know. If that's from my youth, I don't know. So there's definitely that for me, is it brings back a sense of familiarity and to a way of feeling. And then for me, the other thing it really does is because most of the comfort food is high in sugar or carbohydrates. Did you know that, Kate? And since most of them are high in sugar and carbohydrates, it tends to make me feel very heavy. Like it makes me feel very, like weighted. It actually makes me grounded because usually when I'm eating comfort food, it's because something has stirred me up, right? I've gotten stressed, I've gotten upset, I've gotten tired, and it literally helps sort of bring me back to earth. How about you?
Well, that's interesting. I was just thinking about that part. I suppose maybe that's true, but I am just as inclined to want those foods if I'm really happy as if I'm bummed. So that's interesting. What makes food comforting? One of the things I've been thinking about lately is that part of the need for comfort, I think, is chemical. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a different episode, I believe, in terms of the chemical addictive properties of food. So I think part of what makes me crave the comfort is an addiction. And that if I can get to the place where I don't need that comfort for whatever reason, or that I break that addiction for whatever reason, then it becomes a completely different thing. But I think the things that are true of comfort food in general is this combination of all of these qualities. So one of them is that there's fat. Right, which we talked about. One is that there's some kind of carbs. And for me, and I think for you, like the pasta, pizza crust, like the white flour carbs are one of them. Usually there's a protein, I think, so that in some ways it's filling. Not always. Like if you think of chips and dip, I guess there's not a lot of protein. Although it depends. Like if that's made of a dairy product, then there's protein to some extent.
The closest I would get with that is with the cheese on the pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and there is that. So depending on how healthy I'm feeling, the protein part matters less or more, right?
Right.
Any taste or texture things for you that come up?
Definitely the crunch, like things that are crunchier. That's why like one of the big things I love are chips and dip or cheese and crackers. I love the texture of the hard and the soft. I feel like it gives me something to do as I chew. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Well, it's the crunch and the creamy.
Yeah.
It's that combo of the crunch and creamy, I think.
And I also love putting things together. Like I love when you have to take a chip. This is so queer. I can't believe I'm talking about this. I love when you have to take a chip and like dip it into something. And then God forbid you have one or more things to dip it in. It makes me so happy. It's sort of like putting together a puzzle. Same with cheese. Aww. Like I love a cracker with some cheese and maybe a little mustard and God forbid another piece of cheese.
Makes me think of you like giving one of your little dogs a job. Like it's like you like having the job of having to assemble your snack.
Exactly. Yes, I do. It's fun.
Right.
Keeps me active.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I get most of my exercise, Kate, is by assembling my food.
Reach, grab, hoist, lay down, repeat.
Repeat.
Totally. Exactly. Hey, Rick, did you know that over 2/3 of American adults, 69.2%, are either overweight or obese?
I didn't know that, but I would certainly probably have guessed it.
Hey, Rick, did you know that in 2011 in the United States, the antibiotics sold to raise meat and poultry was nearly 4 times the amount sold to treat sick humans?
Come on.
I know. So I made this amazing egg thing the other day, and it had everything in it I like. It had eggs, and it had like a chipotle sauce, so it had some heat and blue cheese and scallions, and it was tart and fatty and salty, which is important, and it had some sweet in there, and everything about it was good. And I really wanted a piece of toast with it, but I didn't have any bread in the house because I generally don't have bread in the house.
Right.
But I wanted the crunch of the toast, and also I think probably the carbs of the toast, because there wasn't a whole lot of carbohydrate in there. And so to make it a fully comforting thing, I needed toast. And so I ate it without the toast, and I was like, it just didn't do it for me. So then I went into the fridge and I had some leftover Kung Pao chicken that I had made, which was good, but it was pretty high in fat and sugar, and it didn't have any crunch. It didn't have any actual peanuts in it was the problem. And so it had no crunch. And I was like, ugh. And so then I had to keep eating because I still was not satisfied. So I then had more leftovers of baked beans and a broccoli slaw. And finally, in the baked beans and broccoli slaw, I had the like sweet and savory and smoky beans with the crunchy, acidy, creamy broccoli slaw. And I finally had the crunch, and I could finally stop eating. But if I had had that one piece of toast in the whole beginning of that extravaganza, I probably would have just stopped after the eggs and the toast.
Oh my God, I can't take it. It reminds me of a Far Side where we would just come into your apartment and find you on the floor, your refrigerator door open, all the contents on the floor, and the caption would say, Kate was unable to find the crunch.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah. Right. So know thyself.
God.
So in future, if there's something you know that you're going for, just eat that one thing for God's sakes.
It's true.
Don't let me be an example.
Have you ever had the desire for like comfort food? And you're like, God, I just want it. I know it's in the fridge. I know it's there. And you do everything you can to avoid eating it. And you eat all this healthy food. You eat your salad. And you're completely chock full. Like you couldn't possibly shove another thing in. And then in the end, you just wind up shoving in whatever comfort food is. And you've eaten far more calories than you ever did.
That is what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like maybe there is something to that. If there's one thing you just know you're going to get. Like that one time, do you remember when we were driving back from Arkansas and we went to that rock shop and I bought that table?
Yes, I love that table.
Yeah, exactly. And I still love that table. It's this table. It's a little sort of end table-y type thing that's round, and it's made of fossils, and it's got this like slab of earth with these beautiful fossils in it. And I spent hours in there agonizing about whether to spend the money on this table because it was a lot of money. And I finally did. And Rick was really patient the whole time I did. And we got back in the car and we're driving and we're like really delayed now or whatever. And he just said, so I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, yeah, I just, it was so obvious from the minute we walked in there that you were going to buy the table. I just wish you could have gotten to it sooner.
Forgot about that. Right. I remember that.
Totally.
So our advice to you is just eat it.
This doesn't seem like the right counsel to be giving.
So just when it calls, shove it in. That's the advice today.
Wait, what happened? How did we end up here? This doesn't seem right at all. But no, like maybe you can find like a thing that will make the thing that you're craving, like it feels like you're craving whatever. Like you can find something that is crunchy and salty that isn't necessarily peanut brittle. That's maybe I don't know, broccoli dipped in salt, or I don't know, something.
Well, it goes to that whole idea of trying when you're called to eat comfort food, right? Be aware of what you want, when you want it, and the quantities that you want it, and just be aware of what you're feeling, right? That whole idea that you've talked about before, you know, because if we could really tune into that, it'd probably solve a lot of problems.
Absolutely. So a lot of it is really about awareness of what is making us want to eat that. And that is actually the next thing that we're going to talk about in our next episode.
So what are you going to work on this week? Like if you were going to pick one thing, what was going to be your focus this week?
I would say awareness. Definitely awareness of, well, like you just said, what I'm eating and when I'm eating it and how I'm feeling when I'm eating it and what I'm thinking and feeling before I eat it. And am I actually present and enjoying it while I'm eating it? And then how do I feel about it after I ate it? And really just paying attention to eating and not necessarily doing anything about that. Especially, it's easy for me to say right now because I'm generally being kind to myself and eating well right now. So I don't feel like I have a whole lot to change. But it's the weekend, and that's the time that I am more inclined to wander. So staying aware. That's where I am right now. Okay. How about you?
I think this week I am going to think about limiting the amount of times that I actually eat what I consider comfort food. Because given my druthers, I am going to eat it at just about every opportunity that I have.
Yeah.
Because I would love to like eat leftover pizza for breakfast. I would love to eat Thai food for lunch. And then I'd love to eat Chinese food for dinner. And I really...
Really? You're crazy. What's wrong with you?
I know. Stick with me, Kate. It's crazy. I know.
All right.
So I'm going to really try and limit that so that when I sit down and plan my week, I'm really going to figure out how many opportunities I'm going to give myself to sort of eat what I consider all of that comfort food, all of that stuff that I'm really used to eating, that makes me really happy, that makes me feel good. I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's very smart. And I actually did on Thursday. I felt like a total ass for doing this, but I sort of planned my meals from Thursday to Monday.
Did you really?
In my head. Yeah, I did. Thinking about what I had in the fridge. Also, I'm going out of town, so part of it is I'm trying to clear out the fridge and not buy new stuff. So I'm additionally motivated. But I'm like, oh my God, is this really cool or really ridiculous that I actually have thought through my meals for the next 4 days?
Because I think you and I are both in the same, a similar pattern again, where we've been like 2 or 3 weeks where we've been doing really well as far as watching what we eat and our consumption. And isn't it the most exhausting thing ever to have to plan your food?
It is like a freaking job.
It really is. It's expensive to eat well, and it's time consuming to eat well. I really don't understand how most people do it, particularly when you have to cook your meals.
Although it's cheaper for me because when I don't eat well, it's because I'm eating in restaurants or ordering in. So it's actually way cheaper for me to eat well because I cook it myself.
Right.
But I take your point, like Doritos are way cheaper than... I can't even think of a healthy comparison to Doritos, but...
Sun chips.
Than anything good for you.
Yeah.
Than carrots. I don't know.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally.
All right. So we will see you during our next episode of continuing the conversation about comfort foods.
So we're actually going to get into and talk about the science behind a comfort food. Why is it so addictive? Why is it a hard habit to break? Literally the makeup and what it does to our body when we eat it.
So there. All right.
So here is the exercise for this week. When you are drawn to foods that you think will make you feel better,
just be aware of what you're eating, when you're eating it, and what you're feeling before, during, and after eating it. Think of it as data collection. As our conversation continues, we'll talk more about what to do with that information.
Go to our website, youwon'tbelievewhatIate.com, and share your favorite comfort food or recipe. Kate and I, as much as we try to eat well, we are always looking for ways to grow with food that's terrible and awesome.
Thanks for listening.